Save the Semantics, episode 86. It is September 20th, 2019. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I ramble on about myself. I haven't really been able to record anything for the past couple of weeks, more or less, just because I've just been recovering from my wisdom teeth removal. It's been a couple of weeks, more or less. I'm still feeling a little bit of pain right now, but it's nothing too crazy. I've just kind of, it hasn't been like, it's not right now. It's not like writhing pain. Before it's been at moments where I've just kind of been just holding it in, and it's not excruciating pain, but it is pretty bad. Just because I don't really want to rely on medication to null the pain away. I just don't want to take too many pills per se. I am glad that they did prescribe me, the medication, like especially like the steroid or the anti-inflammatory, because I expected my face to look way more bloated than what it actually was. Of course, the first day it was pretty swollen, but I look at myself in the mirror, like it didn't look like it was anything too significant. Like I didn't feel like my face had gone from like, relatively slim to fucking obese within just a day, So that was good, but it's still a lot to take in, still a lot of pills to take in. Right now I'm just taking ibuprofen, relatively heavy amount, 600 milligrams, but nothing really else. None of the other pills I'm taking. So steadily getting back to normal. The worst thing that's taken a hit is definitely my appetite, for sure. Just because like the amount of food that I've been just kind of limited to eating, I feel like I've lost some weight, for sure. Just because like generally I don't eat a whole lot of food anyways, hoping to change that in the future. But especially during these last couple of weeks, just my appetite has just gone to absolute shit. I just haven't had, the motivation. I just haven't had the appetite to consume anything, because you're limited. They give you a list of like soft foods that you can consume, which is good. Like I'm glad they gave me that, just because it gives me some tips, some advice on what kind of things I can consume after my surgery. But it's still, you still get kind of sick of eating the way you eat the food is just kind of it is what it is. That's kind of the thing I'm not really looking forward to when it comes to getting older. My mouth being all fucked up, having no teeth, eating just, oh god. Why am I even thinking of that? I should be happy that I have, I don't got the wisdom teeth anymore, It had to get pulled eventually, It was starting to bother me. I think I mentioned it, in the last episode, how one side of my face was starting to kind of feel some pain, and I just didn't really want to deal with that anymore. So the removal came at a good time, for sure, but it's not without its consequences, for sure. So hopefully, I have school starting next week, which I'm looking forward to in a way. I'm trying to take as much in as I can for this next week as possible, whatever that means, as it relax as much as I can. But I feel like there's only so much relaxation I can really do. I feel like this summer has run its course in a way for me. So I am looking forward to starting off school, getting back into that kind of rhythm, finishing off this last year, and then figuring out things from there. But for the time being, just kind of trying my best to recover as best as I can. It's a lot of, it's definitely it's a lot of time, spending a lot of time. I've mentioned that I haven't really been able to like or I just haven't really. I mentioned that I wanted to watch a lot of TV shows and shit while I was, recovery, but I just haven't really wanted to be honest. Like, it's, I think I've just kind of been just laying around. I've gotten back into, Dragon's Dogma, though. I beat the, sort of the main game, not like I haven't really 100%ed it. I haven't beat, like the secret final boss. But I have beaten like the normal story mode, so I've gotten back around to that. I've enjoyed my time in it, but I've kind of hit a bit of a pothole again, just because like I just need to grind my way to get to a certain level. I've kind of capped out, in a way. So that's that. I've enjoyed myself in that regard. Been watching some other stuff. Nothing really too particular or anything super interesting by that measure. I tried to get into. I've mentioned before that I really enjoy like Korean cinema. There was this recommendation on one of the Netflix subreddits, and the TV show was called Bad Guys. It focused on like Korean. It was like a Korean what the fuck did I just say? A Korean crime thriller show, about this like group of people, essentially a group of like bad guys, that were trying to catch other bad guys. You could say it's like a Suicide Squad kind of thing, but I feel like it's not the most like the idea in it itself is not the most like original or like it's not the most. It's not the original. It's not like an original idea, but I was still like intrigued by it. So I checked it out. I watched the first episode, but I just couldn't really get past it. I couldn't really get into it I just couldn't really sink my teeth into it, just because my face hurts. That's a bad joke right there, but I just couldn't get into it. I felt like it just felt a bit too corny, a bit too cheesy for my taste. It was a bit low budget in some regards. The action was it was way too many like cuts and like way too many changes in camera angles where you couldn't really see like the actors' faces, during like the fight scenes and stuff like that. There were certain things like that. The thing that absolutely threw me off was like the mic clipping. So every time like a character was like yelling and shit, like the mic was like clipping, and I was like, that's just so distracting. Like I wish, like couldn't they have like done something in post to edit that? Like that really kind of threw me out of a loop. So like when they're having like a pretty emotional scene, when like a certain character's like daughter like died, he was like kind of yelling and screaming in agony and stuff, but the mic was clipping. I'm like, I can't take this seriously, like they could have done something to edit that out for sure, but I don't know. So that it just felt kind of low budget. Some of it was kind of cheesy and corny. If I had kept my time with it, if I had sort of stuck with it, maybe I could have enjoyed it more, but I felt a bit predictable. I felt I kind of anticipated what was coming. So unfortunately, I just couldn't really continue on with the show. But I'm glad I took a look. I think it's just, it was worth a shot in a sense. I think it was just also like I was expecting a whole lot more from it, considering how much like I've really consumed like the best of like Korean cinema and Korean like media, like just the artistic like and the creative masterpieces that are like Old Boy and like Mother and stuff like that. These are like some of the best that the medium has to offer. So I haven't really. I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that I've kind of missed out on and that I haven't had to sift through. Like of course, like you could say the same thing about like American cinema. Like I've seen a lot of garbage like cable TV, and that's probably something that I've been able to avoid watching on like just within like the Korean front. So of course there's going to be some things that aren't like that are duds and not like gold nuggets, I guess. So it is what it is. I'm still anticipating the next like Korean movie that's gonna be like kind of be like just trip me the fuck out, or just just amaze me. I just have such a high expectation for it. I really shouldn't, but I do enjoy that genre of cinema very much. So I'll be looking forward to that. What else has been going on? Spending some time on the internet, obviously, watching YouTube, spending a bit too much time on Twitter. Well, it is what it is. There are things on there that just kind of make you irrationally angry, which is unfortunate. I just feel like I need like another thing to distract me from Reddit, especially because I spend too much time on that website. And Twitter's kind of sort of like a mainstay for most people. It's like the main platform for a lot of people, but I've mentioned this before, but it's just, if it's easy to get into. There's a lot of opinions that are spread across on that site, and you're gonna get a lot of you're just gonna get a lot of shit thrown around. That's for sure. Outside of that shenanigans, not much else has really occurred. I'm finally able to consume like solid foods. I think I've already mentioned that, but it's nice to be able to finally eat some stuff, and just be able to eat something other than like soup and oatmeal and that kind of thing. So things are looking up in an extent, no longer holed up in my room as much as I have been, and I've got things to kind of look forward to, which is nice. I finally got around to listening to Rhapsody's Eve album, and I thought that was fantastic. I thought it was really well done. I haven't had the chance to really go back and listen to her older releases. Of course, I listened to Layla's Wisdom, which is still like one of my favorite albums within like the last like 5 or so years. I think that just like from like top to bottom, I feel like every song, it just is really well done. And her newest release, Eve, is just kind of a continuation of that in a sense. In this album, she talks a lot about a lot about a lot of black women that have inspired her in her music, just sort of how she treats things on like a day-to-day basis, how she like carries herself, talking about like the historical significance of these figures, how they've contributed to, I guess, American society or like black culture as a whole. And I thought that was really well done. I'm not sure. I feel like it doesn't have the same replayability as like Layla's Wisdom, but I might get around to it. There's not really like a standout track for me as of yet. I think I might just like go through it again. What I really liked, I just like caught on to it like immediately, which I thought was interesting. Like the song Aaliyah was sampling Sabrina Claudio's I think her song Natural, and I heard it immediately, which was like crazy because like I just listened to her album About Time like a little while ago, maybe about a month ago or something like that. So I was like I heard her like voice like humming in the back, and I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck, am I still listening to like this album, and I thought that was really cool. It was interesting, just like she sampled her voice. Well, I don't know if like Rhapsody herself like produced the track. I'm pretty sure it might have been someone else, but just the vocal layering and stuff like that was kind of like a nice touch. So I thought that was kind of cool. That's like the one thing I think music in general has sort of, especially more popular music, rap music, specifically, has definitely moved. I mean, it's always been the case where like rap music has like sampled, jazz samples and songs from, other popular genres, so it's not anything new by any it's not anything new, but I think it's cool that like there's sort of a like it's no longer sampling just music from like, of course this has never really been the case by any means, but like I think it's cool that the production, can take can borrow things from music that it doesn't, I mean, it's R&B and soul and that kind of thing, but like it's pretty recent. I think Sabrina Claudio's album came out in like 2017 or something, that which is pretty recent, so like with that song in particular, sort of like it just made me think like, oh, it's cool to see within like the musical medium that like a lot of artists can take influence from, like differing genres. And of course, like the biggest example of that, is Old Town Road, where it's like the sample that was used to create like, the backing of the track was from like a Nine Inch Nails song, right? Which is not even like, it's not even country. It's like, it's rock. It's like punk rock, post, like I don't know how to really classify their music, but it's just like you take these different sounds from like different types of music to create like a, like a wholly new track, which I think is which is like such a cool thing to do. I know it's not that even that unique of an idea at all. This has been like a thing for so long, but like it's just like, I think this song in particular just sort of like, maybe like, okay, I kind of see like the layers of musical production, sort of the thought process that kind of goes into it, the how, the structuring of the song, and how like a certain instrumental, a certain beat is made to fit with the vocals of like the rapper or the singer, and then you kind of see just sort of like, you see that I think it's a cool thing to see. It's really all I have to say about that. I don't really have too much to go off of. Just showing some appreciation for music. What else? What else have I really been kind of listening to? I haven't really like sat down, outside of what I've already mentioned. Like, haven't really sat down and listened to music. Because a lot of the time when I listen to music is in my car. I have, I'll download an album and then I'll play that if I'm like driving to work or whatever destination I'm getting towards. So I don't really like sit down and listen to music that often. But when I do, I think I tend to like appreciate it more, just because I think when I'm driving a car, like I'm still focused on the road, so I don't want to be distracted by the music. Like I don't really try to look for too much of a deeper meaning outside of like the surface level, like lyrics and the feel of it too, so yeah. Although I think that like once school starts, like I'll definitely be like listening to like music more. I think it's more like a thing where it does depend on the type of music that allows me to like study and stuff like that. Like rap music is not really, I still do it too, which is funny, but like it's not necessarily the most like ideal like study music, because I'm already like, if it's a much more of like a conceptual album, like of course I'm gonna try to sit down and listen to the album, so it's gonna be hard for me to do that while simultaneously like studying and stuff like that. So I'm still trying to. I mean, it doesn't even really matter now because I'm gonna graduate. But I mean, I'll still be like studying for like my CPA and stuff like that. But I'm still like trying to like figure out like what the best way to like study is. I don't think anyone
this is just a recurring thing, but I don't think anyone actually knows how to like properly study. Just everyone has, their own thing, right? Music helps for some people. Doesn't necessarily help for me, in most regards. But again, it depends. It's just like, do you have to kind of be in the right mind space to be like, and concentrating on if it's like busy work, then yeah, I think music, having music on doesn't really bother me too much. But if I'm like intensely studying material, I'm going over the same things over and over again, then yeah, music is not necessarily the best, it's not the best catalyst to help me memorize stuff. So yeah, just some food for thought there. What else is gonna be happening? I have a few days. No, I got like 5 days or so before I got classes starting, and then it's the end of summer, in a way. Very anticlimactic, Is it climactic? Climax. Anticlimactic, right? That's the right pronunciation. People say anticlimactic. I'm pretty sure it's climactic. Climatic. Anticlimactic. Yeah. Anticlimactic ending to the summer, which is kind of how it's always been. It's never like, oh, let's do something crazy, it's not. Nah, it's never anything like that. Just kind of easing my way into the school year. Gotta try to get some supplies before them, some notebooks and stuff like that. I still keep a lot of like my older notebooks, which is kind of funny. Like some of them, I just in my head, some of them I feel like I still need, maybe just because especially for like accounting courses, maybe like the tax courses. I feel like if I keep them, then I'd be able to use them as like reference and stuff like that. But I don't know. I never look back at them anyway. The only time I actually used like an older like notebook of mine was like maybe for stats. But even then, I barely used it. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't really. I have an old like calculus textbook too. I have an old tax textbook, which maybe I'm thinking I might give away. Although the issue is it's not super relevant anymore because it's from 2014, and tax code, like I've mentioned before, changes year to year. So like having that textbook was, I don't know. It's most of the time I didn't like I took pictures of like the textbook from like 2019 instead of like the 2014 edition, which is what the one I had was. So it was kind of pointless. I only spent like $10 on it, $15 on it, so I saved money for sure, but not a whole lot of not exactly the most worth piece of literature, I guess. I also have like I have these like readers for my other classes, that I'm like, I just don't know. I feel bad for getting rid of it, like I just don't. And a lot of like those readers are not like, nobody else is gonna look at them. Like I have one from my science fiction reading and writing class that I took last summer, and like the reader is just basically like these analyses of like the book we read. So we have like kind of like a reference to just that like certain like things, certain allusions that maybe the writers were making reference to. And then so like, these, professional critics and writers and stuff like that, they give us sort of like a base to kind of look at the book through. So I have like all these like written like critical responses and stuff like that of these texts, and I'm like, who the hell is gonna actually like read this, Unless someone there's just someone out there who has happened to read the specific like novels and like sci-fi books that we read during that period of time, and they're like, I want to learn more about this kind of thing, outside of like class, I guess. I don't know. It's just not really. It's exactly worth. It's pretty. It's sad to say, but to me, it's just kind of worthless right now. I have. There's just no intention of me looking back at a thing that is just not really gonna, give me any like satisfaction or anything like that. So, Eventually, I will get rid of it. I just don't want to. I don't want to toss it in the trash. You know, it's like it's not the same thing as like scratch work. It's just a little different. It's a compiled work of literature. You know, regardless of whether I think it's worthless or not. It is still literature in a sense. And you know, I maybe I'll take back what I said, but maybe there's someone out there who could still find some worth with this thing. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give it to like maybe I'll give it to like just like donate it or something. Maybe someone will have something to read and they're reading that and they're like, I have no idea what this is talking about. Like it's talking about Frankenstein, but I still have no idea what it's referencing because I've never read Frankenstein. Maybe someone will be there to read it. I don't know. You never know. Anyways, that's probably going to do it for today. Let's see. Recommended album? I guess I'll recommend Rhapsody's album. Although it's been a little while since the album has been released, but I'll still recommend it for whoever is interested in checking that out. I do recommend it very highly. Check out her other stuff as well. And that's gonna do it for today. This has been Save the Semantics, signing off.